As you know, during COVID tyranny, people were silenced. The Biden-Harris administration colluded, the real collusion, with tech companies to silence Americans' First Amendment rights. They silenced doctors, scientists, academics, and anyone who disagreed with the government narrative. But there were some doctors that stood up and put country before career, put science before the people who said it was settled. And we are very honored to have them here. I will introduce them. Dr. Mary Holland, Dr. Pierre Kory, Dr. Robert Malone, and coming with them is a senator whose hearings have been exceptional. He is a freedom fighter and a great American. Please welcome also Senator Ron Johnson.
What a wonderful sight. Children's Health Defense. What a tragedy and an outrage that children need public defenders for their health. But they do. During pregnancy, moms are expected to get 4 shots: flu, Tdap, COVID, and RSV. At birth, a baby is expected to get a hepatitis B shot against a sexually transmitted disease. By 6 months, a baby is expected to get 20 shots: Hep B, RSV, DTaP, Hib, IPV, PCV, rotavirus, and COVID. By 9 months, a baby is expected to get 1 or 2 more COVID shots. Not one of these shots has been properly tested, and each one is known to cause injury or death in some. This is insane. This is corrupt. This is criminal. Vulnerable children need a public champion, and they have one in Bobby Kennedy. He is not only defending children, he is committed to making them healthy again. Let us make children healthy again. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Pierre Kory.
Thanks, guys. It's really good to be here. Hey, guys. Yeah. Guys, great to be here. Thank you. So, you know, some of you know my story, but I'm going to tell it. About 5 years ago, I started on a journey. And where that journey led is to an unfortunate realization, or maybe it is actually fortunate, but I discovered that the world I thought I lived in did not exist. It was a fake world, but it was a world that I believed in. You know, it's embarrassing to say this in front of this crowd, but at that time, I trusted in the institutions of society. I read the New York Times religiously. I venerated the medical journals and listened to whatever they said. I trusted the public health agencies. Man, I literally thought Fauci was a sympathetic guy in a tough spot with a lot of critics. That's how brainwashed I was. And then what happened is COVID came along. And me and my colleagues, pulmonary and critical care doctors, we said game on, and we took it head on. We studied everything we could, and we started to develop treatment protocols and putting them out to educate the public. And then what happened was this guy came into my life, Senator Ron Johnson. And, you know, I think he made a big change in the world through COVID because he got really important life-saving truths out there. He gave us a platform to speak truth, to speak expertise, science, and deep study. And we got that information out, and that information not only went around the country, but also the world. And I think by the result of his actions, we were able to save many, many lives. You know, my first testimony in May of 2020, I argued for the critical need for corticosteroids in the hospitals. And I did that at a time when every national and international healthcare agency recommended against it. I was proven right 6 months later, but then when he invited me back to talk about this little drug called ivermectin, of which I'd become an expert on, that's when really the journey started to accelerate, because I suddenly was faced with a response, a coordinated attack across media and medical journals and agency leaders across the world spewing lies. They sounded similar, they were structured similarly, and they were just raining upon our heads, and they were drowning out our voices. And then I saw the onset of immense censorship and propaganda, not just social media, the journals, the medical journals at the heart of all of this. Medicine has been captured. And then after seeing that and fighting that ivermectin war, I saw that amplify by many magnitudes around the vaccines. And I watched a humanitarian catastrophe unfold. There are millions dead across the world from these vaccines. My own private practice, I've seen almost 1,500 patients, many of them in the peak of their lives, who are now disabled and suffering with the immense symptom burden to this day, years later. And I believe that I'm meeting the greatest unmet need in the country right now, which is the care of the vaccine injured. And, you know, ultimately through this journey and why I'm here is I've come to believe that our government has been fully captured by corporations and these industrial complexes. They have every single one of our agencies, the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, the EPA, you name it, big food. They're polluting our air, our water, our medicines, our security. They're letting, you know, all the immigrants come in, and they're surveilling us and censoring us. All of our rights are being slowly stripped, and most of the country's not aware of this. And as an educator, I'm trying to bring that message out. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here for the same reason you guys are all here, to rescue the Republic.
Pierre Kory, give him a hand. A great American, a great patriot, a great physician. He'll go down in history. My name is Robert Malone, and I've just come back from Tokyo. I want to talk to you about what you've been subjected to over the last 4 years. Our theme here is the medical industrial complex. It's in the weaponization of science and medicine. That's what we're focused on. Over the last 4 years, you have been subjected to psychological bioterrorism. You have been systematically subjected to psychological warfare intended to train you to have fear, to respond to the fear of weaponized infectious disease in order to control you. This is psychological warfare. This is psychological bioterrorism. It must stop. The people that do this must stop. I'm going to read you a little quote from John Kerry recently speaking at the World Economic Forum. Okay, here's what John has to say about the world. Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to hammer disinformation out of existence. This is why he's so focused on the next U.S. election. What does he have to say about that? What we need is to win the right to govern by hopefully winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change. He wants to win by a big enough margin that they can throw out the First Amendment. So what does that look like? Now we have this situation in India with a vaccine for COVID called Covaxin. A bunch of academics wrote a peer-reviewed study that got published. And you know what biotech did? They sued the journal and they sued the academics that wrote the paper because it was revealing things about the vaccine that biotech didn't want to be revealed. This is their new strategy. They're going to deploy lawfare to shut down our ability to even talk about the risks of these products. All the things that Mary was talking about, if the election doesn't go the right way for us, they want to get to the point where they can put people like Mary and Bobby and me and Pierre in jail, just like they did with J6. So here's what's going on. I just came back from Tokyo where they had a 30,000-person rally because they're about to deploy self-replicating RNA vaccines. Japan is being used as the guinea pigs for the world for this new technology. The Japanese people are calling this the third atomic bomb. This is being deployed in a cooperative agreement between a U.S. company, Arcturus, a Australian company called CSL, and a Japanese company. Now, the CEO of the Japanese company recently gave a press conference. What did he say? He said, anybody that is spreading misinformation, we're going to go after him legally. We're going to try to have them jailed. If you say anything against their self-replicating RNA vaccine technology that's never been rigorously tested, we don't know if it's going to infect other people. We don't know if it's going to spread. We know it's going to replicate. We don't know if it's going to get into the brain of the elders in Japan. But we do know that if we say anything about these concerns, the CEO is going to come after us and try to put us in jail. That's the new world order. That's what we're coming into. That's what they want to implement on us. They want to shut us down. They want to prevent us from speaking. They want to completely control the narrative, and they want to be able to deploy psychological warfare on all of you to control you, to train you, to respond to the fear narratives about avian influenza and monkeypox and whatever it is they want to deploy next in order to control you, in order to teach you to shut up, sit down, stay in your homes, and do what you're told. Now, I'm not okay with that. I don't think you're okay with that. And I hope that you join all of us in fighting this new tyranny. Now, thanks for your time, and it's my great pleasure to introduce this is a true American patriot. If there's a hero, it's Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson, who has stood up in the Senate and said, hell no. Ron Johnson, who has spoken the truth again and again and again. Ron Johnson, who has bucked the Uniparty. Ron Johnson, who ran for office even though he didn't want to because he wanted to resist Big Pharma and the vaccine narrative. Welcome to Senator Ron Johnson.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Robert. Thank you all for being here. This is a really good sign for America. It is an honor to be here and to follow three heroes of the pandemic. Dr. Kory had the courage and compassion to treat COVID patients, and like Dr. Malone and Mary Holland, they all had the courage to tell us the truth. It is also truly an honor to speak before another man of enormous courage, Robert Kennedy Jr. The fact that Bobby made the painful decision to put political differences aside and focus on an area of agreement, addressing chronic illness, is a powerful example of how to heal and unify a very divided nation. Isn't it sad that these courageous individuals, together with so many others in the medical freedom movement, instead of being rewarded and praised for their efforts, they have been ridiculed, vilified, and scorned. Maybe that's why so many of the people in our movement are people of faith and spirituality. People who truly believe we are in a struggle between good and evil, a battle of biblical proportions. What else could you call the sabotage of early treatment, mandating an experimental gene therapy, censoring the truth, ridiculing and destroying the reputations and careers of good people who told the truth, and ignoring and casting aside the vaccine injured? I call that evil. But even though we are in perilous times, we have hope. Do you know what gives me hope? You do. Together with the medical freedom warriors, the Canadian truckers, and all the people whose eyes have been opened and are seeking truth. 61 years after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood not far from here on the steps of Lincoln Memorial, declaring that he had a dream, we all have a dream. We have a dream that billions of eyes will be opened, that wrong will fail and right will prevail, that truth will conquer evil, and that freedom and peace will endure. That is why we are assembled here. That is what must be rescued. It is our mission. It is our quest. In the end, this is a fight for freedom and for truth. It's not somebody else's fight. This is our fight. And it is a fight that we absolutely must win. So God bless all of you, and God bless this marvelous nation that we call America. Thank you.
Senator